All right. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So, thank you for having me. I probably am the youngest speaker here amongst everyone else, and we have had so many different sessions on really elaborate topics. So, I will be discussing about something which has been rather close to me for a year, ever since the early years of my third year bachelor's, and this is so my I'll be presenting on a degree in business administration in India. I'll be talking about its scope and I'll be talking about its pursuit. These things, business here, basically MBA is a little under discussed, or maybe even perhaps not so not so elaborate when it comes to the knowledge of people about it. So, what's an MBA? It was a degree which was introduced by Wharton School of Business. It started in the late 19 after mid 19, and it was introduced by the Wharton School of Business to merge business administration and scientific assessment. It was basically started by economists. They were funded by the big businesses running then. And the main idea behind an MBA and to introduce MBA into the world of academic was to employ scientific means of scientific assessment into business administration in order to help them flourish, to have a precise way to judge how things work in an organization, and how can an organization profit from different decisions, and how can we make different decisions. Ever since its development, it has seen an exponential expansion in its scope. And but the two most important evidences that support this kind of this expanse in its volume is the number of examinations, the number of examinees that have started to take the examinations, and this graph is particularly limited to the Indian exam common entrance test. And then the second thing is the volume of seats that are available in each institute. So their expansion, as well as an increasing number of the students that are taking the exam, has is a very good evidence as to how the field is becoming popular among the people of today. Now, the growth from 2014 to 2018, the data for 19 and 20 wasn't available. Sorry, 19 wasn't available. So it's not an exponential increase, but it's neither a linear increase, it's somewhere in between. So yeah, there has been a good number of students taking part. Then we have the fields of specializations. They have been enlisted according to my area of preferences. The analytics, business analytics, and artificial intelligence is something that I'm really passionate about, and was exposed to in my third year bachelor's at University of Lucknow. Then you have business economics, finance, human resources, operations, and marketing. MBA, the field of MBA is not limited to these six specializations. You have many more specializations. You have sub-specializations within specializations. But these are the six basic specializations which you will find in almost every university, and you'll be able to apply for a degree, for a master's degree for each. So I'll be briefing you about each of these six. We'll start with analytics. Business analytics. All right. So business analytics is a field that comprises of analyzing data. It starts with gathering data, and then it includes analyzing data to be able to make a proper decisions about the growth of business, and as to how to expand the business to make it more profitable. Now, as I say, business is not exactly the right term, because these business analytics fields, the people who the business analyst, the people who take up this field, they not only work in paper-based organizations, but they also work in non-profit organizations as well. And they also work in government organizations. So basically, as an analyst, you can work either in a profit-based organization or any. What you really do in it, you start with a collection of data. What are the sources? Where do you get the sources, and why do you collect the data? The sources mostly are very common. You have you have the audit reports of of a company. You have surveys, and then you have the research done in business. So these three are the prime sources of data um, in data analytics. The next thing is to compile the data, to collect them, and to warehouse them, and that's precisely what it's called. It's called data warehousing. There's a lot of computer applications that are being employed for data warehousing. For instance, we have cloud. It's very important to have a proper warehouse. It's very important to be able to store data properly. Once you're done with data warehousing, the next thing comes is manipulation of the data. Description, as it, these are the four steps that are explained and happens after data warehousing. You have description, explains what happens. You have to work with the data, and you have to find patterns in the data. You use different computer applications like R and Python for that. Then you have the diagnostic, explains why it happens. So you just have to use the statistical tools to come up with a mathematical model as to why things are happening, as to what kind of pattern that is. So you just have to come up with a general mathematical formulation for the pattern. Then you have predictive forecast about what might happen. So you use that particular formulation to predict things. Now, those predictions could be positive, those predictions could very well be negative. So, therefore, you have the last point, prescriptive, recommends an action based on the forecast. So, in case basically, the last one is employed only when there are negative predictions made. So it's important for the business to know as to how it will be handling in case something goes south. The next thing is artificial intelligence. Now, this is a rather new introduction to the field of analytics, and not all the institutes offer this course. But you have many, especially overseas, that do offer this course of business analytics along with artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, something which is not just limited to business, but it's a field unto itself, but has been employed in the field of business. And why is it employed? As you can see, the first thing is machine learning, and that's precisely where business analytics merge with artificial intelligence. Predictive analysis and deep learning. These are the two things which are key to artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence for those who might be relatively newer to this term? Might not be relatively newer to terms like Alexa and Siri. So these are the apps that are already there employed. You have IBM Watson that is employed to detect cancer. All these are examples of artificial intelligence, and what they really do is that they are programmed. They have been input with the program, and they work accordingly. For instance, you can use your applications to know what kind of weather is. It's about the weather forecast, or the Watson, the IBM's Watson program to detect cancer. Then you have artificial intelligence is really limited to programming, and the more advanced is the machine learning and deep learning. Machine learning is through experience, which is very much like human beings. So, for instance, a human can only tell between a cat and a dog, which is a very popular example, only because he has experienced a cat and a dog. So they have some sort of memory of a cat and a dog. That is exactly how machines are being made to learn without any input, without any programming, through memorization, which happens just like in human beings. And then the last one is deep learning, which is again very important when it comes to business analytics, because machine learning and analytics are quite popularly employed in this particular field. You have neural networking. I'll explain it quickly. What's deep learning? Neural networking, for instance, is you have neurons, and then you connect them together to form a very large, very complex and condensed network. For instance, you have the string theory. In case of physics, you have string theory. Basically, is a mixture of physics and music. So you have the principles of physics focusing on particle physics, and then you have the music. which the different vibrations on a particular string of guitar string, for instance, and that is how string theory comes up. So basically, you put two and two together, and that's exactly what deep learning and neural networking is. Then the next field is business economics. Business economics consists of all these fields. I think these are 8 fields that you can see on your screen, and each of them is very important. Business economics is not a sector where you really work, but it's an important part of academics. You have a lot of research being done in business economics, but there's apparently no business economists. They're not practicing in a particular business organization. Then you have finance, which is very, very popular, very common, almost known to almost every household in this globe. Is best way to understand finance is through the features of finance. Investing, what you really do in finance is this. Suppose you have an organization and a person who's a team of finance is responsible for bringing the money in and then putting the money, investing the money for the business to grow. That is exactly what investment opportunities means: profitable opportunities and optimal mix of funds. These 3 points are explained by my aforementioned statements. Investor opportunity is the first one, means you should be investing in something which will give you more returns, for instance, the gold. And then optimal mix of funds means how much should be your debt and how much should be your assets in order for you to have a better hold of finance of a particular system or an organization. Then you have human broadly from human resources and what a human HR does at an organization. Then you have operations management. Operation management basically is to convert capital and labor, meaning to convert the assets, what you have, into goods and services as efficiently as possible. You should be able to you should be able to put all your assets. You should be knowing how to put your, where to put your assets, and it's basically concerned with planning and organizing and supervising in the context of production and manufacturing. So it should be a very easy way and a very efficient way to produce your goods and services without too much input, but a very large output, profitable output. You have marketing management, again very popular. It's obviously you can precisely explain it through branding, associating, and communication customers and all that. So I'm not really going to get into this because this is very popular. But this is something which is relatively newer. Not a lot of universities are offering this. Universities overseas are offering this. For instance, in Sweden, you have RS University, Karolinska Institute in Sweden. They're offering this very, very novel course, which is important for this particular seminar because what happens is generally that science and business are considered to be pitching against each other. One which is in search of the optimal truth of the universe, and the other one is just based on profiting and building up huge stacks of mountains of money. So that's not really true, and this is where bio entrepreneurship comes into picture. And I'll just explain it quickly through the fish problem in the microbe. This is an important part. Here, for instance, you have a fish is a very important source of food, and a very, very important source of food, especially in southern India and all the coastal, the continents, all the coastal regions. But apparently, you have a lot of waste there in the, wherever you found fish, edible fish. So all this waste material, especially plastic, goes really into it and results into it saturates within them and makes the fish not so good as a food source. And that's where the microbe comes into picture. There are certain microbes that can degrade the plastic within the fish and makes it plastic free. Basically, it gets rid of all the problems associated with it. As far as that, you have also seen all the other presentations. They were all based on different schemes, different products. Basically, they're all based on pathways that can help us, that can introduce novel products into the human life. For instance, there was this presentation on vaccine. There was this presentation on this particular the one that was given before me. So all these could be converted into very, very much valuable products. Now, this is where bio-entrepreneurship comes into being. And bio-entrepreneur will understand that he will be able to come up with a service, and then he has to convert the service into, he has to be able to give that service to the entire globe. So sciences and the business are merging together. Then you have research and business, again, not very popular with people, but something which is very, very important, which is crucial element to the growth of any business. Now you have normal businesses, the small businesses, they don't really require a lot of research. They go by hit and trial method. But when it comes to global businesses, for instance, you have Facebook, you have Biocon, you have great pharmaceutical companies, you have agricultural giants. So all these require research, and they require research in order to facilitate decision making, so that they can grow as a business, not just profit, not just monetary profit, but to be able to make the products better. Research in business is very much like science, basic and applied. Basic means that the research is being conducted on something which is not very much the need. It's more like an addition to the basic sciences, basic data of business. And applied research in business will include a very particular problem. So the research will be to find solution to a particular problem. For instance, it could be related to, for instance, you can take the example of Alexander Fleming. He discovered penicillin. So when he was conducting his research, that would be considered as an applied research, because he was trying to fix a problem there. And if you take Christopher Columbus, so Christopher Columbus there was no need for him to discover something really great. There was no need for him to discover America. He just wanted to discover and add to the existing knowledge of human beings, and that would be considered a basic research. So that's a very fine example to understand the two. This is a methodology of this business research. How do you go about business? How do you conduct business research? Formulation of this research problem, you should be able to identify gaps in the present market. This requires a lot of reading, going through the research papers and understanding where the gap is. Then you have conceptualizing research design, because it's a systematic process. So you need to it has to be a very coherent model. You cannot just go about doing anything. Then developing research proposal. Exactly how will you be going about it? So the second and the third point quite similar. Then you have the data collection and fieldwork, which I said is important, and the common fields are audit files, and you have surveys and whatnot. Then you have processing and analyzing data. One of the fields have been skipped, that was data warehousing, so storage of data. Then you have processing and analyzing. You use computer applications for that. Then you have interpretations of the findings and report writing. Now, business research has nothing to do with decision making. That's the job of a decision maker. But business research is very, very key to a business analyst's role. Now, towards the end, you have the mechanism of pursuit. How do you pursue? Because I said that I'll be talking about the pursuit of an MBA degree in India, and I myself have done that. I appeared in CAT 2019 and have secured admissions offer from IAM Bihar and IAM Jammu. So it's a very tricky process, not a very easy process. This is a very brief overview of what one has to do. But since there were so many undergraduates, I was made aware that there are many undergraduates that will be listening to me. So in case someone is really passionate about bio-entrepreneurship, is sometimes passionate about logic, someone's passionate about reasoning, and wants some basic researching or analyst, we can always go about, they can always search the entire process, what really happens. Briefly, it's register and apply, appear and catch, shortlisting by the MB college, and final selection of the round, which requires GDPI and that. So you really should be good about essay writing. All right, this is the end. Prerequisites is how I would like to end. In case someone is really interested in these fields, in these growing fields, either in research or in practice, you should be having at least 3 out of these 4 prerequisites. Mathematical skills, the first one, which means not really be able to do maths, but you should be comfortable with maths. You should be able to understand what maths is. You should be able to understand what numbers are, because it's not just about putting things into formulations and then finding out solutions. But they should be that you should be able to understand how mathematics work, and that requires logical reasoning, that requires interpretation reasoning. So please don't limit it to simple formulations and that's. Then you have English language skills. You should be writing skills are very important. You should be having good writing skills, and also good speaking skills. Both are important. You have computer skills, which is also very important because um, a good amount of specializations, for instance, finance and analysts and bio entrepreneurs, all these, even operations to some level, require a lot of handling a lot of data computer applications. So you should be good with computers. You should be good with MS Excel. Or having a certification in each application or a popular application always helps you if you are trying to apply for those institutes. And the end is communication and public relations. Now, do not confuse this with the second one. That's the English language skills. They're two different things. Being able to have English skills is one thing, and being able to communicate your opinion, deliver your opinion across an audience is different. You should be able to understand what the audience is, and you should have coherent views. You should be able to coherently put words together. So even if just any 3 out of all these 4 will help you go really long way. So finally, I would like to thank Monisha ma'am. She told me about this really wonderful opportunity, and I thought that I should grab it by both hands. Mostly because I learned that there are undergraduate students just like I was at university, and we all have a different mindset. We all like to explore things, but apparently we are not exposed to different careers here. So I thought that thank you, Monisha ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to speak about my experience related to business administration, and I hope it had been helpful. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks to all the speakers, and I think it has been a very long session, but there was variety because of you, Yusuf and Nitchi, and
Thank
the
you.
rest were all more towards biological sciences. But tomorrow, I think most of the students should join because there'll be a lot of other subjects too, and we are having very experienced professors from all over the country and different universities and institutes. And our Vice Chancellor, sir, will be there with us tomorrow. So thanks a lot to the audience who have been there, the last few audience which are with us. And thanks a lot. Okay. So I think we can end the meeting here.